Hello and thanks for joining me on another episode of Frogs Hollow TV. My name's Toby Cooper and on tonight's show I'll bring you a full wrap up of last weekend's Richard Bennett Memorial Enduro in South Australia, the Moyston short course, a one-on-one chat with Kent Battle ahead of the Finke Desert Race, and also a look ahead at this weekend's Mumbannar 160. Again, I'd like to say a huge thank you to our incredible partners and contributors for not only making this episode possible, but for all their support in 2025. Before we commence our reviews, I'd like to give a quick shout out to the Kempsey Off-Road Club after they had to postpone the Kempsey 300 a couple of weeks back due to the significant rainfall. Hopefully we'll see that event back on the calendar later in the season. Now on to our first event wrap, the 2025 Gold City Short Course up there in Charters Towers. Just 9 cars took to the 10-kilometre layout. Young gun Kai Camilleri nailed the prologue run in the team's Jimco. However, a crank angle sensor issue sidelined the talented Queenslander, allowing Kent Battle with fresh air where he was never headed, cruising to a 6-minute victory at the completion of 13 laps over the 2 days. Local Chris Sollett nailed down second outright, finishing 50 seconds ahead of Peter Nuns in third, whilst fellow Selitco campaigner Dave Skinner and Rob Wearing rounded out the top 5 in his trophy truck. I was fortunate enough earlier in the week to catch up with the champion himself, Kent Battle, who now has all eyes on next month's Finke Desert Race. Check it out.
It's a pleasure to welcome on the Frogs Hollow TV for the very first time, 2024 Don River Dash champion Kent Battle. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. How are you going?
Good. Firstly, congratulations. I saw you had a little win up there at the Gold City Short Course, a bit of a test run for your big hit out at Finke in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, nice little sort of quiet one almost. Good field of cars, small but still a good field. Nice little track and a good test for us with a little bit of breathing room afterwards, just in case.
How'd the car go? I know that's obviously the aim. You got a pretty comfortable victory, but the car everything was good.
Yeah, car was good. We've made a couple of small engine changes since Don River. We just sort of wanted to test those. That responded well on the dyno, but sort of seat of the pants is where we sort of judge everything off, and it was going well. We had a couple of small little issues as well, which is good to find out now, just with some fuel pressure. But we think we've figured that, and it should hopefully be all hunky dory.
And last September, I was fortunate enough to be there with the Curran boys. Interview after undoubtedly your greatest off-road moment. It must still be a great feeling, mate, 8 months on to know you're going back in a few months as the defending champion.
Oh yeah, a lot of pressure too. Hey, look, we definitely had a few things fall in place for us last year, but that's racing, so I'll take it. But the car's finally getting to a point now where it's becoming pretty reliable. Pretty fast, and the setup's just sort of starting to work for us, and the prep and everything's finally coming together, and we're getting some solid finishes now. So, yeah, really happy.
And let's talk Finke. Last year it was another great week for you and the team, crossed in 6th outright. You now had multiple top 10 finishes out there in Alice. How's the confidence and sort of, you got any goals heading into next month's edition, or it's just sort of, there you go?
Look, Finke's I think everyone who's raced Finke knows what Finke's like. It's one that can really bite you really quick. With every sort of good finish we have, I've also got that thing in the back of my mind that says, "Oh, this is the year not to finish." Look, we go over the car really well. We try and prep everything as well as we can. The car's working really well. I've got a couple of guys up next week. We're going through the data and the suspension and that, try and give us all the best sort of chance we got.
Yeah.
I lack a lot in the pre-running and sort of navigation on Finke. I don't do near enough to really know the track, but I also don't want to get to a point where I'm not enjoying it. It's a job for us to go out there. It's sort of our family holiday, if that makes sense. We go out and spend a lot of time together and camping and just enjoy the race. Whilst we do take it fairly serious. Obviously, I'm at the point where I've either got to spend a lot more time on it or just be happy to do what we do. We were in 10th last year and came over the hill. I believe it was one rollover fest they used to call it, and it was just a trophy truck graveyard. I picked up 3 spots in about a kilometre.
Yeah.
So look, that can be anyone any year.
Yeah.
And we're very fortunate with the car and setup and crew. It hasn't been us yet. I hope it's not us for a number of years, but we'll see how we go.
Facts are facts, stats are stat. You're third fastest on the return leg in Alice last year, which is extraordinary for yourself. But the thing that stood out for me, you started out at 36 on the grid Sunday morning. So you sort of put any focus on that heading into this year?
Look, I traditionally start out far too slow and warm into the car. Aaron and Carl are both up me. And sort of the way home, I always get frustrated by the time I get back because I realise how fast the car can be if I just get my act together. I've always sort of got it in my head on the way down, don't break the car. But I need to start sort of changing the mindset in that if it's going to break, it's going to break. It's not because we're pushing 10% harder.
Yeah.
I did a horrible prologue last year. I thought it was okay, and then came in and just watched my name fall on the list. And we were comfortable on the way down. It felt good. I spoke to Carl at the finish line, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we were doing 140 or whatever over the big stuff, and it felt great." And Carl's words to me were, "Well, why didn't you do 150?" And I thought, "All right, well, we'll try it on the way home." And when the car felt comfortable, I just sort of Adam told me, or I just sort of give it a bit more. And
maybe your brother's new Element Prodigy could be driven by Carl Havey at Fink. Fill us in a bit about that.
Oh, look, if people don't know, my little brother's motorbike for life. He's finished 36 or something. He's won Don River as well. Very fast, broken a lot of bones, pelvis 3 times, legs, arms, back. And when he did his back pre-running for Don River, I think 2 years ago now, it was a bit of a scare for everyone. So we bought another buggy, and the guys up at Element got it to a stage where it was a roller with the cooling package in and that sort of stuff. And the idea was to bring it up and us finish it. Work and lives sort of got in the way, and we didn't really touch it. And when the entries opened up, I was looking through them and Carl's name wasn't there. So I rang him and said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I don't have a car." And I said, "Well, I got a deal for you." So we put it on a trailer and sent it down. And look, it may be there, it may not. It's very, very close. It's at wiring at the moment. It's been there for a little while, so it should be towards the end of it. But at the same time, we've sort of said to Carl, don't work day and night on it. If it doesn't make it, it's happy. There's plenty of other races we can go to. Don River, it's going to be a great car, obviously. Another Element that they'll do start to finish now, and just sort of a standard-ish LS and Albans, and a great thing to get him off the bike.
Post Fink, I know you mentioned before you'd possibly like to head down to Waker again for round 2 of the ARB Australian Series, and then obviously back to North Queensland for your the Don River Dash for 25.
Yeah, definitely Don River. That's obviously going to be a big one on my list now. Love it. Went over the other day. The water's dropping quickly, which is good. We've got some more cubes going in the engine. We're just trying to decide whether to do it before or after Don River. I just don't want to be putting a motor together 2 weeks before Don River if something happens.
Yeah.
Or, you know how it always goes. So possibly after, but yeah, we're happy, we're keen as, and obviously going up there with 2 cars for the first time is going to be a real thrill.
Yeah, mate, no, it'll be another great weekend for you and your team. Anyway, thanks for joining us on Frogs Hollow TV. Congrats on your win last weekend, and all the best to you and North Trans Racing at Fink for 2025.
Appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
Last weekend was also round one of the 2025 Sayora Series down there at Perilla for the Richard Bennett Memorial Enduro. 27 starters took to the 30-kilometre layout, and to talk all things Perilla, I am joined by South Australian off-road commentator Cameron Nash.
I'd like to welcome to Frogs Hollow TV for the first time, South Australian off-road commentator Cam Nash. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Good. How's things? You had the Richard Bennett Memorial Enduro down there last weekend. Looked like another epic weekend in South Australia.
Yeah, opening round of the Sayora Series. Really cool weekend. We had 27 starters out there. It was dusty. We haven't had a lot of rain out that way for quite a while, and probably the most dust we've seen there for probably since I can remember. And we've been racing there since '06. So a bit of challenging for the competitors. There's plenty of wind on Saturday though, that sort of kept it a little bit clearer. But yeah, very very sandy. The whole track's sandy. There's I reckon you'd be hard pressed to find one rock out there. Really deep. Sometimes it gets really rutted out and tough going for the competitors. So a lot of guys don't even run spare tyres because there's no rocks, and you sort of the only thing you're going to really stake a tyre on is probably a sharp tree root.
So on to our top five. Matty Curtis. He won the event in 2017, Grant Pyre in the navigator's seat. He just continues to shine, and he's one of the clear standout talents down there in South Australia. Brenton Galash had a good weekend in second. Darren Marks, the Victorian, in third. Great to see the Fitzgeralds in fourth. And Jason Richards coming there in fifth. I know he was right up there and had a few issues late on sort of Sunday afternoon.
Richards was basically second after Saturday, and he was looking really, really good through Sunday morning. But yeah, just had a couple of dramas and ended up back in the pits, which slipped him down the order. But talking about Matt Curtis, he was unstoppable. A really, really good prologue lap, and headed out for section one, and he started next to Evan Lampard, and he got out in front, and with that dust we had, Evan just had to settle into the dust, and Matt got away, and Matt won section one. But I think section two for Matt was probably, I'd put it down as one of his drives of the weekend, because he stayed so close to Evan the whole 4 laps. I think it really set him up to go out there, and on Sunday he was just dominant. No one came really that close to him. Yeah, Galash in second. Brenton is always consistent, always consistent and consistently fast. So when all the cars, all the really fast guys started sort of dropping out, Brenton was always going to wind up right up the front. And Darren Marks, he was impressive. Really, really good Saturday, and just another guy that was consistent all weekend and got the rewards for it.
Of course, Shannon Fitzgerald, one of the local female competitors down there, she was very consistent and she crossed in fourth. Great to see. Corey Devine come down from Queensland in his class 6 to finish 6th outright, so he would have been stoked with that.
Yeah, that was a cool battle actually. It was Devine and Fashion going head to head for and swapping fastest lap times all through Sunday, and it was anyone's game. It was anyone's guess who was going to come out on top, and Devine was just faster all through Sunday's running, whereas Fashion was quicker over the short course loop. So that was a really cool battle for those side by side boys all weekend. Simon Knight was running real strong, and unfortunately, I think it was injector O-rings, or an injector O-ring let go, and they had a bit of fuel splashing around, so decided to cut the lap short, got towed back in and repaired it and got back out on track. But that dropped him way down the order, and I reckon we had about 9 cars that just sort of had issues and just dropped down the order, which just allowed everyone to come on up. So tough for the interstate boys. Kevy Knott had a CV issue on Saturday and drive shaft on Sunday. So just those little frustrating things that ruin your weekend, unfortunately.
Anything else you'd like to add, mate, from the Richard Bennett Memorial Enduro for 2025?
I think I'd just like to, on behalf of the Onkaparinga Ramblers Car Club, just thank all the competitors who come on down once again this year. We love having everyone at the event, and everyone who supports us, all the volunteers and officials and all our recovery crews, because we couldn't put that event on without all these guys coming together. And yeah, we had a great weekend, and thanks everyone.
No worries, mate. Thanks for joining on Frogs Hollow TV. Great call on the weekend, and hopefully catch up at Love Day later in the year.
Thanks, mate. Looking forward to it.
Now on to our third and final review of tonight's episode. It was the 2025 Moyston Short Course, hosted by the Geelong Off-Road Buggy Association down there in Victoria on Saturday the 3rd of May. 25 competitors took to the tight and dusty 7-kilometre circuit, and after 21 laps it was Aidan and Stacey Campagnolo in their Can-Am Maverick X3 who claimed the 10th victory by 19 seconds over Can-Am newcomer Cameron Grayson. Class 10 Jimco Charger James Tyrrell crossed in third, ahead of Darren Franklin and last year's winner Glen Pike, who returned to the seat of his Can-Am at Moyston. Other class winners included Dean Williams in 6th, Brock Pendlebury, Christy Jorgensen and Kayleen Gill in the team's Class 7 patrol. So congratulations to all who finished the Moyston Short Course. Now to our only preview of tonight's episode. It is the weekend's Mumbannar 160. And for greater insight into round 3 of the new Southern States Off-Road Club Challenge, I'm proudly joined by Series Coordinator Heath Weedon. Heath Weedon, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Tab. Yourself?
Good. First of all, I'd like to say congratulations to you and all involved in the inaugural running of the Southern States Challenge. Tremendous initiative. You must be stoked with how it's taken off so early, mate.
Yeah, it's definitely taken off way better than what we probably thought. I think currently we've got after Mumbannar this weekend, we'll have about 82 or 83 competitors that are actually in the series, and probably 70 odd of those would have done at least 2 events. So yeah, it's taken off very well.
That's great. And obviously the man behind the new series, what was sort of the main reason behind driving the idea to where it is today?
We were actually sitting at the start line a couple of years back at Hillston, and we're just sitting in the car talking, and it was just like how many of the smaller cars and the decline in the numbers. So we spoke with a heap of competitors over the next 12 months from there. A fair bit of great feedback with the idea. It was all about giving the competitors with club level cars a series to follow, and helping the small clubs actually boost the numbers a bit, which it's definitely done that.
Yeah.
And we sort of looked at the Queensland series, and like they've got a lot of club bases up there, and it works very well. And we're a bit small down here in SA to do it on our own. So between the SA and Vic, it's really good. So.
And this weekend's round 3, the GT Bobcat Mumbannar 160, hosted by the Millicent Sandbuggy Club. Another tremendous field of 35 competitors, and I know there's around 10 or a dozen on the waiting list, and it's going to be another great day of racing.
Yeah, it will be. They do a great job down there. Scrutineering there Friday night, and then 4 heats on Saturday. So the smaller cars, the bigger cars, and then the smaller and bigger again for 8 laps each at a time.
Yep.
So, yeah, very compact little track, but it's a flowing track, and it's always well supported.
And Mumbannar always attracts a quality lineup. 2025 is no different. Next weekend with local charger Toddy Lehman, past champions Gary Turnbull, Glen Pike. I see Dean Carter's in the field, Dave Middlemas, Jacob Douglas, to name a few, and plenty other potential winners. Who do you think, or any early tip for the 2025 Mumbannar 160?
Well, I think Toddy Lehman, you're right there. With the last sort of 6 to 8 months, he's won the day and nighter down here at Beachport.
Yeah.
He third in the Pines outright, and then Burringle, he won that as well. So yeah, he's definitely going well at the moment. Gary Turnbull has had a couple of issues of late, but if he gets it right, he can be right up the pointy end.
Yep.
And all the other guys you've listed pretty much, like Dave Middlemas. And a lot of the Class 10 boys will probably do pretty well down there as well. So yeah, there's could be a number of.
Every class covered this weekend. You're currently leading Class 7. You're looking forward to another solid run yourself?
Yeah, a bit more competition this weekend. So it's good. I don't like being out there by myself.
Yeah.
No, that'll be good to have a few other cars around and hopefully get back a few more points.
You claimed that your first Australian Class 7 title back in 2023. You're obviously planning to contending the remaining ARB rounds this season?
Yeah, that's the plan at this stage. We're trying to do both series, so there's a fair few races for the year, but
Yep.
we are trying to get to I think it works out nearly 12 events for the year, so if we can keep the car running, we'll be fine.
There's a lot of work to not only run an event, but to try and organise a whole series collectively. You've got many clubs. Anyone in particular like to thank for the new series itself?
Probably just the clubs. All the 6 clubs that are involved. They've all done really well to the ones that can make more room have.
Yeah.
Manor is very tight on what they can do, so they've added 5 cars, so that's great. Just thanks to all the clubs that jumped on board and Burson Auto Parts, I guess, for being the right sponsor.
Yeah, no. And I think this series, many can vouch for that. I think it was going to, leap ahead in the years to come. Thanks again for joining me on Frogs Hollow TV, Heath. Congratulations on the start to the new Southern State Off-Road Club Challenge, and all the best to yourself and everyone competing this weekend at Mumbannar.
No worries. Thanks very much, and thanks for having me.
Thanks, Heath. All the best to yourself, mate, competing, and to everyone involved in this weekend's Mumbannar 160. The annual Alice Springs Off-Road Race Club's Brekkie Bash was held at the start-finish line of the iconic Fink Desert Race yesterday. Around 24 crews took to the prologue track for a test and tune session. Bo and Travis Robinson, of course, were there, the OBR team. Likewise, the Bentley family, Brent Smoothy was making some moves, Nick Hicks, the Westlime trucks, and Josh Wilson, to name a few. Incredibly, just 4 weeks now until the great race gets underway. So we'll bring you more Fink insights as we get closer. Entries are also coming in for next weekend's Colo Park Challenge and the Burdekin Enduro, which are respectively round 2 of the New South Wales and the Queensland Aora Championships. We'll have full previews of those 2 events on next week's episode. So that's a wrap on tonight's show. All the best to those competing at Mumbannar this weekend, but more importantly, stay tuned for the next episode of Frogs Hollow TV. Cheerio.